This is a story about information, bullshit, craft in the future. So let's start by talking about information, about books specifically. 2003, there were 300,000 unique ISBN numbers published in the United States. By 2007, that number rose to 400,000. 2009 jumped all the way up to 1 million. By 2011, that number is 3 million. And just last year is estimated that 15 million unique books were created just last year. So out of the close to 130 million books in existence, 10% of those were created just last year. 10% of all books ever made. That's insane. Photography. 4.5 million photos are uploaded to Flickr every single day. An artist in the Netherlands printed out a day's worth of Flickr photos and it filled an entire art gallery. 40 million photos are uploaded to Instagram every single day. 300 million uploaded to Facebook every single day. So what we're looking at is that about 1930, there were 1 billion photos taken per year. By 1960, that number grew to 3 billion. By 1970, it's 10 billion. 1980, 25 billion photos taken per year. 1990, 57 billion per year. 2000, 86 billion a year. And wait for it. 2012, 380 billion photos were taken last year. So out of the 3.8 trillion photos that exist in this world, again, 10% were taken just last year. Pretty insane. Video. The average US household now receives 118 channels, which is like in the 60s is like 12, right? 72 hours of video uploaded to YouTube every single minute. 4 billion hours of YouTube video are consumed every single month. Netflix consumes 1/3 of all internet bandwidth. 1/3 of all internet bandwidth. It's crazy, right? Which brings us to the internet. This is how many emails are sent every single day. That's 144 billion emails. Getting close to 1 million websites created every single day. 500,000 WordPress posts are published every day. 40 million Tumblr posts every single day. 500 million tweets per day. 4 billion things are shared on Facebook every single day. IBM came out and said that 90% of all data that's ever existed were created in the last 2 years. Eric Schmidt of Google said that there are 5 exabytes of information created between the dawn of civilization through 2003, and we now create that much information every 2 days. So this is my very unscientific chart of sort of what we're looking at. This is the whole of humanity. And then recently, right, wow, a lot's going on all of a sudden. And if we think about it, if we continue down this path, things are starting to look like this, right? It's just a straight up wall of information, right? We're just now getting constantly bombarded, just slammed in the face with all of this information, right? These are my browser tabs on any given day, right? You can't really see in the back, but it's just a couple little chiclets, right? So I shared this on Twitter. As Kate said, I tweet a lot. And some people are like, holy shit, how do you get anything done? Other people are like, that's nothing. These are my tabs. It's crazy, right? I'll zoom in on this just so you know. All of these like little 2-pixel little bumps, these little gumdrops, are all tabs. And the kicker of it is he said, that's just one of 3 windows I have open at any time, right? And I don't know about you, but like this is me. You know, it's like some really bastardized version of whack-a-mole, wherever you're just constantly trying to get those little red dots down, right? We're just being bombarded constantly with information, right? The kicker of it is that the term information overload was made in 1970, right? Before shit really got real, right? Way to go. Right? We're just getting started with all this, right? 2.4 billion people have access to the web. That means that the majority of the world is still not yet online, right? But they're coming online fast and furious. In fact, you know, Moore's law is still very much in effect. Things are getting faster, things are getting cheaper. And it's easier than ever to create content. I feel like I can't even scratch my ass anymore without generating some content, right? If you're familiar with the old pocket SMS, right? So we're just being hit with all of this information, and even if you were to consume 4.8 5-hour energy drinks every day, you're not going to be able to sift through it all. Which brings us to bullshit. I define bullshit in a couple different ways, right? Superfluous or unnecessary, cluttered, clunky, or needlessly complex, intentionally deceptive or insincere, and of course, the excrement of an adult male bovine mammal. We don't want to forget the real meaning of bullshit. So in 2013, paper is bullshit. Have you ever looked at a stack of phone books sitting in an apartment complex and you're like, that is entirely unnecessary, right? This is, anytime you fill out paperwork in this day and age, you should be like, this is absolute bullshit, because you know somewhere along the line, some poor soul has to take that and put it into a computer, right? Jargon is bullshit. I don't know if you're familiar with Clout, but they just released a new product to help brands maximize engagement with influencers. Wow. Citigroup recently laid off 4% of their entire global staff in a series of repositioning actions to reduce expenses and improve efficiency, right? Boiling that down, it says Citigroup announced layoffs. These actions will save money, but they buried it in jargon to make themselves, you know, try to hide the fact. Sensationalism, bullshit. I think that 24-hour news stations are extremely detrimental to culture. I think that if they spent half as much time as they do spitting venom at each other, we'd be in a much better place. We'd have a lot more constructive conversations. We wouldn't be as divided as we are. But that doesn't sell ads. That does not sell ads. Opportunism is bullshit. We'll donate $100 to an orphanage when we get 1,000 likes on Facebook. Who are these people? Holy shit. QR codes, one of my favorite topics of bullshit. Visual noise found on billboards, right? On bananas, like us. On planes, right? This is robot barf just cluttering our vision. Disruptions are bullshit. I feel like I can't go to a website anymore without being hit with some stupid overlay, being asked, you know, asking me to take their survey or sign up for their stupid newsletter, right? Whenever I go to a website and I see this is what I see. A big middle finger. Welcome to our website. Screw you. Cruft is bullshit. This is a website. This isn't the best example of web design in the world, but it's certainly not the worst either, right? But if you look at this little highlighted area here, you know, this is the only reason anybody would ever find themselves on this page. Yet it commands such a small percentage of the screen real estate. In case that isn't explicit enough, right? Bullshit, right? And just all these social icons and feedback and just all this clutter that just gets, so distracting. It's bullshit. Spam is bullshit. We've gotten used to email bullshit and to, you know, website spam and stuff like that. But now, has anybody gotten an SMS? Doesn't that sound, it's like somebody breaking into your house and punching you in the face in bed, right? It's like supposed to be, you know, a sacred, you know, very personal communication. Anti-patterns are bullshit. You ever fill out a form and it's like all these boxes are ticked, sign me up to your stupid newsletter, contact me with a bunch of offers you don't care about, send my information to third parties. This stuff is bullshit, right? Those boxes should not be ticked by default, and there's a lot of those, a lot of patterns out there. Advertising is bullshit. You're more likely to survive a plane crash than you are likely to click a banner ad. So yeah, I didn't make that up. It's on the internet, right? You go to a gallery and you get one photo and 7 different ads, right? That's some serious bullshit right there. How about clicking a 15-second YouTube video and getting hit with a 30-second ad, right? Having to sit through that. Ridiculous. There's lots of other instances of bullshit, right? Crapware, bloatware, Norton antivirus, McAfee stuff popping up in your dashboard, right? Every time I open Firefox, it wants me to update Flash. How about whenever you unsubscribe from an email newsletter, and then it says, congratulations, you've unsubscribed from our list. Stop emailing me. CAPTCHAs, right? There's lots of other things, right? Service agreements, cable packages, commercials whose volume is way higher than the show itself. Link bait, clickbait. There's so much bullshit, right? With the rise of all this information, there's so much bullshit. Science fiction writer Theodore Sturgeon was once asked, why is 90% of science fiction writing crap? And he says, well, if you think about it, 90% of everything is crap. And that's especially true in this information age, right? There's entire sites dedicated to it. 0 views, which highlights YouTube videos with no views. Regretsy, highlighting some of the more bizarre things on Etsy's website. Shitstarter, some of the failed Kickstarter campaigns, right? But it's just so easy to create things nowadays, right? It's just so easy to generate things. Jack White, in It Might Get Loud, talked about this. He says that it's the disease that all of us as creative people need to overcome, is that ease of use, that convenience of technology, right? It's so easy to get lazy, right? And it sort of leads to, what does it mean to be a professional photographer when over 3 billion people are walking around with phones in their pocket, with cameras on them, right? When Instagram is showing up on the New York Times homepage. What does it mean to be a filmmaker in an age where anybody that could get their hands on a Red camera can produce a Hollywood-level movie? What does it mean to be a musician when anybody can spend $50 on some software and create something that sounds like it came out of Nashville? What does it mean to be a writer, professional writer, whenever every 14-year-old has a blog? What does it mean to be a designer when anybody that can access a serial code crack has the same tools as you? Any one of us could pull out our phones right now, click a few buttons, and generate a website. What does that mean if you're a web designer? When information is cheap, attention becomes expensive. What sets professionals, the real, genuine professionals apart from the 90% of crap out there is this term craft, right? Anybody familiar with sriracha sauce? Yeah, proud hands going up, right? This is an instance of a product that's just so good on its own. They have no Facebook page, they have no Twitter handle, they do no advertising, and yet it is wildly successful. Why? Because it's damn good, right? And the hope that I see is people are starting to appreciate craft more, right? Whether it's craft beer, whether it's local food, whether it's paying for online services that genuinely make your life easier or less complicated, right? Paying for journalism, right? Because you understand that good journalism takes time and effort and money to produce. We're starting to see this more and more, and it gives me hope, right? The future is about focus, right? we as human beings, we're trying to maximize our signal and minimize the amount of noise that we're exposed to, minimize the amount of bullshit that we're exposed to. That's happening in a lot of different forms, right? We don't have to be subjected to that bottom of the barrel of YouTube, right? There's a reason why these like buttons, why recommends exist, why hearts exist, right? Why favorites exist, why Amazon reviews exist. But also it just comes down to word of mouth, right? Things that are genuinely good will be shared. And it's important to know this because people's capacity for this bullshit is just rapidly diminishing. If you don't like your reading experience on the web, you could use a tool like Instapaper, Readability, or Safari Reader, or Flipboard to have a much better reading experience. Don't like ads? AdBlock Plus. Don't like TV commercials? Use TiVo or your DVR to skip through them. Pay for Hulu Plus and they still show you ads? You know, Pirate Bay or BitTorrent. I'm not recommending it, but I'm saying that that's what people are doing. People find ways to circumvent bullshit, right? We are willing to put up with a little bit of it, but at the end of the day, you try your luck and people are going to find better ways to get things done, right? You're starting to see sort of a crop up of services and products and stuff that are meant to subvert entire industries. This is Bank Simple, which is meant to be a simpler way to do your banking, right? Instead of having to go through these behemoth institutions. This is a new one, Forecast.io, which actually is a weather service that presents you the weather. What a concept, right? You know, you go to any other weather service and you're just being hit with all this crap, right? The future's about respect. I think that it's harder and harder to be an asshole. It's harder and harder to do things that hurt people. And Al Gore sort of commented on this about sort of corruption and sort of the monopoly of the political sphere. And he's saying that the internet is starting to chip away at you know, these big campaigns spent on 30-second time slots and stuff. Politicians need to connect at a very real level now. And that's going to be increasingly true as we move forward. But it's really about respecting yourself, you know, respect your craft, respect what you do, and respect other people's time. You know, I say this to a lot of web designers, you know, you should feel extremely privileged that people took time out of their day to visit your website, whether they tapped on a link or whether they clunkily plucked it out on their little tiny virtual keyboard, right? You should feel extremely privileged and respect their time. Give them more of what they want and less of what they don't want. It's also really easy these days to be super derivative, right? More people are sharing more things. Ideas are out there. And it's super easy. This is a site called, wait, what does your startup do? It's basically a generator that generates different business names, right? So it's Netflix for baristas. It's a news recommender for funeral homes. It's a microblogging service for endangered species. But the idea is that, you know, it's this for that. It's, you know, it's cherry picking other people's genuinely original ideas and taking it and running with it. Tina, who created CreativeMornings, made a service called Tattly, these designer temporary tattoos. And now all of a sudden there's 100 knockoffs. And she's genuinely, you know, understandably frustrated with that fact. But you know, I told her, I said, it doesn't matter, right? You care about this stuff. You care about what you do. You're passionate about what you do. Yes, there are always going to be knockoffs. Yes, there's always going to be opportunities to cut corners. Sir Ken Robinson defines the element as where your passion meets what you're naturally good at. And I think that there's never been a better time to be in your element, to know what it is that you love to do, what it is you love to share, what it is that makes you go, that makes you, you know, get out of bed in the morning. And if you're not in that position, it's never been easier to switch gears. I love Khan Academy, Code Academy, all these services, meetup groups, this group right here. There's never been an easier time to find and discover what it is you're truly good at, what it is that really turns you on, and what it is that, you know, puts you in a position where you could do great things. We are the ones that are creating all the noise in this world. We human beings are doing that, but we're also the ones putting really great things into the world. There's never been a greater time to love what you do, to be a good person and make other lives better, to put your heart and soul into something and share it with the rest of the world, to contribute to something greater than yourself. So we, as creators, we have a decision to make. Do we want to be part of the 90% of noise, or do we want to be part of the 10% of signal? Thank you, guys.